in the valley.
Yeah.
Is where the richest soil is found.
Yeah. I love hearing you say that. I found in my life too that sometimes I got in my own way looking back in life so much. I use this old analogy all the time. I spent half my life trying to stick a round peg in a square hole. You know what I'm saying? In other words, I wanted what I wanted. And it's hard to admit this kind of stuff, but I remember thinking as a young man, I was always entrepreneurial minded. I was always into stuff, and I was always moving. And I remember thinking that, you know what, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be rich. And that's embarrassing now to even say, but that's what I thought. And I found myself in positions before to where I was anything but that. Because that was my intention and that's what I was going for. And I found, I'll never forget when we got ready to open Stormore. I was kind of I'd had some big bumps in the road, man. And when I say big bumps, it had, all the way from loss to just different things in my life. And I remember telling my wife, I said, you know what? I'm going to do this different. And I'm going to do it, whatever's meant to be is what I want. Now, guys, that's easy to say.
Yeah.
It's easy to say.
It is, yes.
It's hard to live. But I'm trying my level best in life to say, okay, here it is. I compare it as a ball laying on both of my hands here. I know it sounds crazy. And if it's not meant to be, I hope the wind just blows it off, right? And I want to be in that place in my life to where that I only want what's right. And I'll add one thing to that too that's been a big help to me. Obviously, a lot of people know it's at Stormore. We raise money for the kids of St. Jude. Of course, I went to St. Jude Hospital. Obviously, that's near and dear to my heart. But I have found by making sure that our businesses are not just we got to make money. We all know that.
Of course, yes.
But it's not just about making money. When we can find a greater cause like St. Jude, man, it's unbelievable. And I don't do it for this. I've heard everything in the world. Well, he does the St. Jude stuff for his business. Okay, whatever. Between God and St. Jude, I'm here.
That's right.
Yes. But when we find a greater cause like that, it's unbelievable. When you come off the elevator at the third floor there at our home office, and we put those little posters up of those little bald-headed kids, and they're smiling back at you when you walk off the elevator when it starts in August.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm telling you, the morale goes out the roof, and we realize there is something greater than just a shed.
Amen.
There is something greater what we're trying to do here. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to affect people's lives around the world. And I think, I've said this, I'll never be a part of a business ever that we don't have a greater cause than just a profit margin.
Amen. And I think, and it fits so well into what we preach, you could say, through this podcast, is that purpose behind what you do.
Yeah.
God doesn't have us here for just this wake up in the morning and go to bed at night and hopefully things work out. There has to be a deep purpose behind what you do, because life is so empty without it.
It is. Have you noticed, though, lately, man? I want to build on that just a second, if you
absolutely.
don't mind.
Go for it.
Have you noticed it's been driving me crazy online? Everybody that's posting this stuff about, well, I've lived my life for this. From here on out, it's about me. Have you noticed
yes.
the movement toward that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I sat back in amazement, and I'm going to be honest with y'all. I sat there brokenhearted because they don't even realize, man, when you live your life for someone else, I'm telling you, it's incredible the blessing that comes from it when you actually take the time to care for someone else, to make a difference in someone else's life. That's where the blessing comes from. Living in yourself is a cold, miserable world.
And that's why I feel like we've seen this level of depression spike. We've seen the level of suicide spike. We've seen all these things happen, is because if I am only living for me, I will fall to my knees and it will break me at some point.
100%.
There is no doubt about it. I see it happen. I've seen it happen in my own life. Yeah. I've experienced it when I was living my life for me and me only. And, spinning the question just a little bit though, Darren, how do we as leaders counteract and deal with the fact that a lot of people will come at us and say that we're doing it for ourselves just because the truth is when you do it for a bigger purpose. I've heard this one day. They said that you'll wake up one day and your bank account will surprise you.
Sure.
And so financial blessings most times come through a mindset of purpose that's above yourself. It just does. It's just, I feel like it's a blessing from God that does it. So how do we deal with the fact that when people look at us and say that, well, it's proof. I've seen you spend money here and do this here and do that there, you are just living for yourself. It isn't about others. You say that and you talk about it all the time, but come on, man, it's only about you. Yeah. How do we as leaders deal with that? It's a question we get a lot, because the fact is, owning a business, if it's not profitable, it's probably going to go under. So there's profits there, and most times, hopefully they're substantial, and it's a blessing. So
as for me, I'll have to say number one, and I don't have all the answers, never claim to have all the answers, but as for me, number one is I can't change what someone wants to think of me. Okay? And that's not the attitude, guys. I don't care what they think of me. That's a bad attitude too. I can't change what someone chooses to think of me or say about me. I can only choose how I react to it.